Hi everybody, welcome to another episode of No Tippy Type of Football, brought to you by Boyle Sports. Hey Sam.
Nat, how are you?
I'm good, you okay?
Yes, fine, thank you very much.
Good.
Looking forward to Crimbo.
Yes, so we should tell everybody that, of course, we're filming this just a couple of days before Christmas because you are, we're both busy in between Christmas and New Year. We're not going to do a podcast episode on Christmas Day, but so this is our episode. So yes, a couple of days before Christmas. So we hope you had a wonderful Christmas and it's been a wonderful time and you got everything you wanted. Had lots of lovely time with your family as well.
Absolutely.
So who is our guest today, Sam?
It was actually the last player I signed in my time at Bolton Wanderers, 2007, and he came on loan till the end of the season, and terrific personality, I must say. Well, you must know that from where he comes from, and you'll get that by the accent when he starts talking. So, but it's a pleasure to welcome Dave Thompson. Dave, great to see you.
A pleasure to be here, Sam. I can't believe it's been so long since I've seen you.
I know, absolutely, isn't it? Time flies, doesn't it?
So
time flies.
Former Liverpool, Coventry, Blackburn, Bolton midfielder. I didn't realise you were the last player Sam signed.
Yeah, I got him the sack.
No, I resigned.
How quick he got that in.
Right, so before we get into everything, obviously there'll be quite a bit of Liverpool talk today as well. Just wanted to bring up Ugo Ekitike just to start the podcast with today, because as it stands, as we record today, no summer signing has more Premier League goal contributions than him. He scored a goal against Spurs, Sam, that when I saw it, just immediately thought of you. An old school classic header is what I'm going to call it, that I imagined you very much liked.
It's all coming back into the game, Nat. The big strikers are coming back in the game. The big, tall strikers are up there. The target men are back again. It's taken probably 7-8 years. They disappeared, and everybody was going for, let's play all the way through midfield all the bloody time. And now there's been a realisation, and there's goals galore coming everywhere. But headed goals are one of the most exciting things you can see when a cross comes in. Your favourite player, Haaland, even his heading's improved a lot. And so it should at his size, but he's good. And I think that there's lots of the lads at the Newcastle, the German at Newcastle, Montemada. You know what I mean? There's lads up there now that are exciting the fans because crosses are starting to come in and headers are starting to be a big part of the game again. Yeah. And balls played in behind and runners in behind, which is a big turning point in the game. Watching Leeds United completely change the style. The manager being brave enough to do it, full marks to him. Calvert-Lewin now becoming the leading goal scorer because he's getting service. He's getting service early. Leeds United winning off long throws. I just get slaughtered for them.
Is it frustrating for you to see the level of praise now the continental managers seem to get?
But that's the press for you, Tomo. They are. You take them as you find them, and I think that the big deep regret I had was letting it stick. Yeah, I should never have let it stick because no matter where I went, it just followed. No, you couldn't shake it. No matter you could have played the pretty. I could have played the prettiest football in the world. Which we played brilliant football when you joined us. And it didn't matter.
There was 2 or 3 years before that, where a couple of times we went to the Reebok and we were expecting a long ball game, but you were playing through us. Yeah. One of the big things what I noticed was the quality in the squad. I knew about Anelka, I knew he was a good player. Didn't realise how good he was, same with Campo. And even Juffy to a degree. He used to let him go and do his own things.
That's right,
He never really give the ball away. So it was a surprise to see the quality that was in the squad, but no surprise to see where we finished at the end of the season. In fact, I think, a couple of results could have gone our way a bit more. We'd have been pushing for Champions League.
Just want to, before we get in any further, I just want to say a big thank you as always to Boyle Sports.
Boyle Sports.
For sponsoring the podcast.
Our brand new sponsors this season.
Lovely.
Fantastic.
We appreciate you. New Boyle Sports customers can get a bet £10, get £40 in free bets offer, plus a 50% bet builder boost on a selected game this week, which is either on screen now or on the exclusive link below in the description. Over 18s only, T's and C's apply, and please gamble responsibly. Now, David, in terms of Liverpool, you had issues with, or is it fair to say you had issues with Gerard Houllier when you were at Liverpool, which obviously makes a lovely discussion point for you get your real experience on what it's like to have a disagreement with a manager when we're thinking about Salah and Slot, which has obviously been so much in the headlines over the last few weeks as well. So given your personal experience of going through that, do you think that Mo Salah has a future at Liverpool? Has he played his last game?
It's difficult to compare my situation with Mo Salah's. Obviously, I was very immature. Mo's, he's coming to the end of his career, or potentially coming to the end of his career.
He's still got Saudi in him, mate.
And he's been an absolute world superstar. But so that's the situation with Slot. It's a weird one, isn't it? Because nobody saw it coming. Obviously he'd been dropped for a few games. And I think at 33, you could accept, having a little rest on the bench. He's been relentless for Liverpool. So, yeah, it was a little bit of a surprise for me. Has he played his last game for Liverpool?
No.
I hope not. I think he deserves a send-off. But in all honesty, I can see there's value in Mo Salah now, and particularly in this transfer window. And if the Saudis do come up with an offer, then potentially he has played his last game. But it'd be a real shame because some of Mo Salah's legacy, he's an icon. What he's done for Liverpool Football Club is he deserves a proper send-off where the fans can say goodbye to him and he can say goodbye to the fans, because he's been a real inspiration since he's been at Liverpool.
Yeah. Make no mistake, Liverpool will sell him if Saudi come in for him.
With a good offer.
Yeah, because they've done it before, haven't they?
Yeah.
There's no loyalty either way. Keep players being loyal. There's no loyalty. When the football club wants to get rid of him, how much did they make off Henderson? Henderson normally would have seen his contract out and gone to 3. I think got 20 million for him.
I think it was more than that. They let him and Fabinho go, didn't they, at the same time?
You know what I mean?
So they got about 60 million quid for that midfield and then replaced them with Szoboszlai, McAllister and
City did the same, didn't they? City sold a few, didn't they? Like Riyad.
Mahrez,
sorry. So you know what I mean? So you get an offer and you look at the age of the player, particularly. And the club's going to go, right, off you go.
I don't think you could have let him go on a free transfer after the season he had last year. So I think the club were really forced. And when he came out publicly, let's have it right, he doesn't speak very often. So when he speaks, he wants something. So when he came out last year said the club haven't offered me a contract, bearing in mind the season he was having, the assists he had, and his importance in the team, it was inevitable that the club were going to give him the contract. He's now got value within himself. He's got a 2-year contract, so there's value within him now. So commercially, you can see Liverpool, potentially, taking massive fee for him. A 33-year-old player as well.
Why do you think that players go off the boil after they've got a new contract?
There's a number of reasons for this. I don't particularly think he has gone off the boil. I'm not saying his legs have gone either. There's been a change of system, a change of style, a change of personnel, and they defend differently from the front now. They don't relentlessly push. No. So I think they don't create that chaos, and that chaos is where Mohamed Salah used to thrive. And I think now there's, if you got the likes of Ekitike up front, you've got the likes of Verts in the team, you've got Cody Gakpo in the team, and Mo Salah, who gets a free pass defensively anyway. You're talking about 4 players there who are not defending from the front on the transition.
Is he just getting blamed for the bad run that Liverpool have had, though, more than anybody else, do you think? Or has his performance is warranted? Because I haven't seen enough. Obviously, I haven't seen enough of Liverpool to see whether it's right, or he just thinks he's a scapegoat.
His performances have not been good enough. No. And I think teams have started, the likes of Chelsea were really exploiting that side of the pitch. They were doubling up, they were overloading. And I think it was fairly obvious that teams were exploiting that. Has he been made a scapegoat? Well, the fingers start to point because of the drop-off. But I think it's been numerous things. Obviously, the thing what happened to Jota, I think winning the league so early last season, it was just an emotional roller coaster. Then what happened with the parade? There was just so much emotional triumph. That the grief.
The level of grief is.
I mean, it must be, as a manager, it must be really difficult to deal with something like that. I don't know if you've ever had to deal with something like that in your career, Sam.
Well, I think that Tom Bealey's died when I was at West Ham, youngster.
Yeah. And
passed away with cancer. Fought it brilliantly over a long period of time while I was there. And we actually managed to get him on the pitch in the first team at some stage in a cup game. Based out of that fact alone, honestly, behind the scenes, we said we should get him on the pitch at some stage. Mm. He looked like he was going to be good enough until the cancer hit, and from a point of view that all that fight and all that trying to survive, and we felt it rewarding that we get him on as a sub, which he managed, and then many times we thought he were better. Then we'd get the old doctor saying his blood counts up again, and unfortunately he passed away, like you mean. But
Liverpool were going through a really difficult period anyway, and it looked to me like the manager was working extra hard. He's probably doing more on the analysis, overthinking things, and he's probably worrying about his own situation, doing more press conferences, worrying about the questions that were coming in there.
That's the last thing he needs.
So he's probably not,
the last thing he needs.
Yeah, the last thing he needs is Mo Salah outburst like that. You might have blindsided him a little bit, and you think the lack of response from Liverpool straight away. It took them 4 or 5 days before they responded to it. You think it probably did catch them by surprise as well. So yeah, it was. In a way, it was a little bit petulant, but I can understand from Mo Salah's perspective. But I can understand what Arne Slot was going through as well. He's trying to get his I don't think he'd faced that criticism before, and I don't think he liked it.
Yeah. Obviously, they signed him in 2017, 43 million, which just seems like an insane bargain now, the amount of years that they've had from him. But obviously, with your Liverpool head on, would you say that he's Liverpool's best signing of the Premier League era?
I'd say he's up there. There's another one as well, Sadio Mane and Bobby Firmino. People would argue Suarez as well, but I think Suarez damaged his legacy a little bit by trying to get sold for £40 million and £1. I would have to say, in terms of value and in terms of what he brought and the standards, he is a standard bearer for Liverpool Football Club, and his levels are so high. Everybody else has been hanging on his coattails just to try to get to that level. So he's dragged everybody up along with him. So the numbers as well. When I found out that he broke Wayne Rooney's record the other day, right, and I think Wayne is such a fabulous footballer, one of the best I've ever played against. Yeah. So when I found out that Mo had broke his record, I thought, that takes some doing. There's only special players who can do that, and Mohamed Salah is special.
Obviously, I believe you're a Liverpool fan as well, former Liverpool player and a Liverpool fan. So, were you there when Carragher trained at Liverpool in his boyhood Everton kit?
I was actually, yeah. We were both Evertonians. I think it's quite.
So you weren't a Liverpool fan?
Not originally, no. You quickly change when you start competing against them, and you realise how vicious the rivalry is. And yeah, I remember us both wearing Everton kits, and I think you do it to try to stand out. You're trying to get the coach's attention. You're trying to catch their eye. So,
how old were you?
I think we were about 10, 11.
That takes some nerve. I'll give you that.
That'll be
probably the only kit we had as well.
That'll be his family saying, "Put that kid's on."
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you're trying to be noticed, aren't you? If you can't be noticed with your ability, you may as well, get noticed with your tribalism. Brilliant. But with Carragher's, he was a mad Evertonian. I think he's been out publicly to tell you that he only changed when he was about. I think I seen one of the stories on one of his podcasts where he was still asking his dad the score of the Everton game at half-time of matches when he was on the bench for Liverpool, and I was like, it's brave to admit that. Yeah, but just going back to that one with Carragher, I know he said that Mo Salah had failed at Chelsea. It's not often
he said they were finished.
It's not often I disagree with him, but I think can't really say that someone's failed after 12 games. And I think if you say that he failed, then you'd have to say that De Bruyne failed as well, because similar appearances. Yeah, so it's not often I disagree.
Did you tell him you disagreed?
I did tell him, yeah, and I think I wrote a piece on my Substack as well, and I always send them to him before I put them out there, and he says, you got to say it as you see it. I think what's happened is a lot of the time when Carragher's speaking on podcasts or is even on Sky, I think because we've both been institutionalised by the same system, I half know what he's going to say a little bit, and I half know where he's going with things and why he thinks them things. But I think his emotion and his passion just got he's so staunch Liverpool now, though, and rightly so. He's a one-man club, and he won so much with the club, and he's an icon, and he portrays so much of what Liverpool fans think. So he's entitled to that opinion, but it's not often I disagree with him. But on that one, I did.
Now, is it true as well, you'll like this one, Sam, is it true that you helped Jamie Carragher win money from other players because playing 3-card brag on a coach? Did you and Jamie Carragher cheat to win on cards?
Yeah, and we still lost. Yeah, it was, that's true. There was a big card school. There was a good group, Steve McManaman, Robbie Fowler, David James. Yeah, but...
I've seen lads lose their wages.
There was a lad who used to take the wages every week, Steve Harkness. So as much as we were cheating, we didn't cheat as well as him. He used to get off with stacks of cash at the bus, pay his mortgage with that.
Amazing. Cards are...
Yeah, but teamwork makes the dream work, isn't it?
Because the coach, see, we all went by coach then.
Yeah.
Wasn't to train or a plane.
Yeah.
It was to jump in the coach and what we're going to do, we're bored. Let's play...
You wouldn't have it now, would you?
No, you couldn't have it now, But some of the lads, especially when I was at Sunderland, because you're at Sunderland, imagine how long the journeys are there.
Yeah.
I remember so many arguments on the back of the bus, and we had to be careful not to be caught getting with the cheating. But
we play in the hotel,
Yeah?
Yeah, we'd have to have a cut-off time.
Yeah.
We'll play till like 10 o'clock and then we'd have to stop, no matter what. And somebody was losing, let's have another hour. No, we've got... Otherwise, you could have gone all bloody night, like you mean. But I mean, the England team was renowned for... Because England team used to get bored stiff, didn't they? The enter-card games that happened then was big money, apparently. So,
well, David, at least we know what the headline from this podcast will be. Jamie Carragher is a cheat. There we go. Right.
He's going to be on the phone to you.
He's going to be on the
phone to you.
Right. Do you know who said this following quote about you? This is a quote, Sam. For a long while, I thought David was the best young player I'd ever seen at Liverpool. I used to go and watch him play for the reserves. He was outstanding.
Stevie G.
That was Stevie G. That's decent, isn't it?
Paid him for that. No, it's lovely, that, isn't it? It's lovely.
Very nice.
Someone of his standing and talent in the game to recognise to recognise me and what I used to do. So yeah, it's nice. Yeah. I
mean, we mentioned Salah earlier in terms of Premier League era signings, but for Steven Gerrard, where does he rank? I mean, as Liverpool have had all-time greats. We've had Sir Kenny on this podcast, ourselves. Yeah. So where does he rank in terms of the all-time greats of the club?
Stevie G, phenomenal. I think he's up there with Kenny Dalglish. I think Kenny Dalglish has always got to be in the conversation, simply for what he achieved as a player and then what he achieved as a manager and the way he handled the Hillsborough situation. So you've got Kenny. The next best is then Stevie G. I don't think I've seen a player like him in Premier League either, who could score goals, create goals, could defend, could tackle, could head, could lead,
but they
could
don't
organise.
Coach him like that now, do they? His defensive midfield or you attacking, why you don't go all round there? Mm. You know what I mean?
He was just everything.
He
could play every position.
There's none of that when I played. You're this or that. If you're a midfielder, you expect to do all of it.
Yeah.
Let him go.
Like I say about Stevie G, there's no other player I've seen like him where he could go and play centre half, he could play right back, right midfield, he could play the 10. He was just absolutely frightening, and he was a scary opponent to play against because there's some players you can hear coming at you from a distance. They have that impact on the ground. He was one of them. He'd bring that speed, that force, and it starts to get you to panic. And then he'd just take the ball off you, and then he's striding away because I don't think people realised the speed of the guy. He had them long legs and he could just accelerate, and the power within them legs as well. Some of the strikes that he had over the years. I think one day I was on YouTube and he said Stevie G's top 100, And the first one comes up and you go, oh my God, that's number one. That's not getting any better. And we're actually working backwards and you think, oh my God, that's how phenomenal he was.
And you sat and watched the whole thing for an hour,
Yeah, about an hour, yeah. And now he's absolutely quality player, but lovely lad as well. And it won't be long before Stevie's back in the game.
So in 2002, you were called up to England alongside Gerrard. You didn't make an appearance, but still getting called up for England is a phenomenal achievement. That is a training camp as well, that era of serious England names. So Beckham, Paul Scholes, Gary Neville, Frank Lampard, alongside Steven Gerrard, Michael Owen. I bet that was just being involved in that training camp must have blown your mind.
Did you feel that lack of togetherness then? Because everybody, now they've got older and they've packed in, they've gone like United, Liverpool, like Chelsea, Arsenal. They were all like not really in it together.
There was a bit of
not like now. There seemed to be now that the England teams are all bonded together, whereas then all the old players who played then, like all talked about the lack of unity. Is that the right? Would you say the right word?
I think it's immature, really, isn't it? But I think if you look at the pressure
for the greater good
that Fergie used to put on his players, and then they were dominating the football at the time, and we were looking to try to break that. So it created the rivalry that was already there. So they did have them factions in the camp, and it was quite noticeable, even though you didn't talk about it, you didn't but you didn't try to address it. I think it probably at the time it was Sven Goran Eriksson. I think he should have noticed that and maybe tried a little bit more team building, team bonding, and that might have worked. But yeah, it was noticeable then. It was it's not conducive to a good culture, and I think one of the things that you can credit Gareth Southgate for is bringing that togetherness and that culture of helping each other and supporting each other. I think he can be credited with that.
What was the training camp like then, just to be with that level of quality player, just playing with them?
Yeah, it was awesome actually. I think when I left Liverpool and went to Coventry, it was always with the intention of getting back to a top 4 club. I knew I had the ability, I just needed the opportunity. I always said to myself, if I'm not a regular by 2021 at Liverpool, then I'm going to be gone, and I'll make sure that I get back. And it didn't matter where I went, I knew that I'd get back. And the time when I got the call up from Blackburn to the England camp, I felt ready. I felt like my performances warranted it, they deserved it. I had 7 goals by January. I had about 12 assists. Yeah. So I felt ready for it. I felt like I was impacting games, and probably teams were probably concerned about me and their team talk. So I felt ready. So it felt like a natural step. But there was some great players there. Owen Hargreaves was a great player as well at the time. He was a fabulous player. Beckham was there. But Bex was the golden boy at the time, wasn't he? He was playing on the right-hand side and he was the captain. And Sven said to me, he said, where do you think your best position is? I thought, well, I'm not telling him it's the right-hand side. I said, but he had a weakness on the left. I said, I've always been best on the left-hand side.
Of course you would. Why
not? But it was interesting. I think it was 2 World Cup qualifiers I was called up for. And in one of them, it was me, Frank, and Wayne Bridge who didn't get stripped. So, it was in good company.
I can imagine you just thinking, David Beckham can't unlodge that position. No. What else can I do? Was it so when you go into a camp and you're playing the same position as David Beckham? Does he say anything to you, or does he just is he just that he just knows it's his? Yeah,
no, he was a great guy actually, Bex, and it surprised me how good he was. When you train with someone, obviously you play against someone, the weaknesses, so you try to point them towards their weaknesses in the games, and that would be keep him on his left foot. Obviously, when I got in the squad and training with him, I don't think I've seen anyone be so dedicated on trying to improve and try to be so technically good. And his passing was insane. And the only one I can compare it to now in the modern era would be Trent. And Trent's passing is absolutely insane as well. So, yeah, he was a good guy as well.
Yeah, good guy.
You played, I've got a list of some of your former teammates I want to ask you about. You played with some phenomenal players in your career. First of all, recently, we had Nicky Butt on the podcast a couple of weeks ago. Yeah. Shout out to
Butty was in the squad as well when I got in. He was, and you know what? Butty was one of the ones who actually was trying to mix with the Liverpool lads. I think Yeah, that's interesting.
He records his podcast with Paul Scholes opposite where we do ours from
Yeah,
right
we're
here.
the same building.
Call in on the way back.
Yeah,
Call in on the way back,
go say hiya. So he recently told a story on his podcast, not on ours, about, there's a right podcast merge thing going on here, about Dwight Yorke falling asleep while stretching in training, and apparently he got fined 2 weeks' wages. You played with Dwight Yorke at Blackburn.
Yeah.
Any good Dwight Yorke stories? Did you see him fall asleep on a mat?
I didn't see him fall asleep, but I knew that him and Mickey Gray had a night out one day.
We've had Mickey Gray on.
Mickey can't deck his drink though, can he?
No, he can't drink.
Mean, he can fall asleep anywhere.
I see Mickey Gray all the time, I'm going to tell him this.
After 2-3 pints,
He was like a giraffe. He'd fall asleep standing up, wouldn't he?
Mickey Gray, yeah.
So, yeah, them two had been out, and it obviously been a late one. But we had the bleep test the next day.
Oh,
I think
the
we had
old
to scoop him
test,
and Mickey Gray off
the floor,
changey floor to go out and do the bleep test. They were the last two. They were the last two in the bleep test. It was absolutely frightening. But in terms of Yorkie, I'd probably say that's the funniest story I've got about Yorkie. But he was a fantastic player. He was a sensational player. I think I remember. I'm sure it was about 1995. Liverpool played Villa. I don't know whether me and Carragher were on the bench as subs or whether we were just in the squad. But it was at the time when, the dugouts were lower at Anfield.
Yeah.
And it was like sort of pitch level and you're looking up at the players.
That's right.
And Yorkie was playing for Villa. And I just remember looking at him and his touch was just like out of this world. And I knew it was only a matter of time before he was going to a proper club. He was a sensational player. He'd be worth a fortune in today's game.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to tell Mickey Gray as well, by the way. I see him, he reports for Talk Sports at City, so I see him all the time. Yeah. I'm going to tell him that as well. Love that. By the way, I could fall asleep on a mat in the middle of yoga, so I'm kind of with Dwight Yorke there. Okay, Steve McManaman as well.
Steve,
played with him. You mentioned him before. Is there an argument that he is the most underrated Liverpool player of all time?
Yeah. Absolutely underrated.
Well, he wouldn't go to Real Madrid if he weren't a player, would he?
He was sensational. Nobody could get the ball off him in training. He had unbelievable fitness levels. He was like, probably a 800 metre runner, really, wasn't he? But his stamina was incredible.
Skinny ones, isn't it?
Yeah, the
skinny
ones,
forever, can't they?
Did you see Pep's quotes in his press conference that he's going to be weighing the players on Christmas Day? I mean, you very much tongue-in-cheek from him. Did you used to keep an eye on?
We used to weigh the players, yeah.
On Christmas Day?
Oh, yeah. John McGrath at Preston, and this was in the lower division, John McGrath at Preston bought in, the butcher scales?
Yeah.
The big metal ones like that, the great big red thing, the big round red
dial
like that. So you stand on it like that and you watch it go up like that. Because you got weighed it every Friday morning.
Oh, right.
Before the game on Saturday. Because you had a goal weight, and anything over the goal weight was a fine while the season was on.
Including Christmas? Including Christmas,
yeah. Yeah. There's a little lad called Ronnie Eldersley who's always struggled with his weight. He's always wearing bin liners, like you mean, Ronnie. And I always remember John McGrath saying, we're playing Boxing Day away at Port Vale and we're getting beat. And Les Chapman, who was the assistant manager then, Les was really funny. Said on the coach going on, we got beat because Sam said, listen, John McGrath's on the bench and he goes, look at Ronnie Eldersley. He looks like a little stuffed turkey because he's eating that much over Christmas. Like.
Really?
When I used to play, managers would get you in and train Christmas Day, and then
always Christmas Day off with me.
Oh, was
as a manager? Oh, I in my time, I hated going in Christmas Day.
Yeah. One day's training's not going to do you any harm, is it?
Why?
Yeah.
If I'm not dedicated enough to look after myself, I shouldn't want to play a professional footballer.
Yeah.
It's like our drinking time was no more after Wednesday. Tuesday night was the last night.
Unless you're Joofy. I heard your story on the way.
Oh, Joofy's one of them, but
yeah.
Joofy. There's always exceptions to the rule.
One thing I would change, particularly obviously during my injuries, would be I'd stay away from the drink.
Yeah.
It doesn't impede your recovery.
Right, let's take a proper left turn, Sam, because this is a little bit different for us, but not totally, because we have had a sporting director on the podcast before. That's a little inkling there, a little clue. Can you tell us about what route you've gone down in football in recent years?
Yeah, I think I've been working in the media for quite a while, and I think 2 years ago I decided that. Actually, no, we go back further than that. I got a job in Gibraltar as a sporting director, and I did that for 6 months, 8 months, and I realised I was good at it. I enjoyed it, and it was something I wanted to do back in this country. But obviously, there was a few holes in my knowledge, and I needed to plug them holes. So I decided to get a master's in sports directorship, and I'm glad I did. Really,
and that's not got you an interview for a job.
It's very competitive out there at the moment,
well,
Sam. I don't know if you've noticed.
I mean, if you've got the football experience and all the clubs you've got and all that.
That's being devalued now.
And then you've got the qualification that everybody needs to go with now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Then an opportunity on the basis of there's many football directors won't have what you've got. But how do you get in? That's the problem, isn't it?
Well, it is. I think if you look at it, most of the sporting directors now, particularly in the Premier League, they're coming from a data analytics background or recruitment background. So
it's not particularly. I've done all that, as you well know. I've done all that. You know, I was a sporting director at Bolton as well as the manager.
Yeah, you did everything.
I did it all. So you know what I mean. So I'm happy to do it. Because it made the destiny more in my own hands than anywhere else I've ever been.
I think it'd be really, if you went back into football now, it'd be really difficult for you
I've done it.
It'd be really difficult for you to handle the day-to-day operations that a sporting director takes care of and stay focused on the team as well.
I agree with that, because what I do is interview the sporting director. Because in my stage of life, I'm lucky enough I can interview the sporting director and say, do I fancy working with him or not? Will he be? Will he be for me or against me?
Well, it's got to be collaborative. There's no point having it.
Whatever you say about sporting directors, they're still in this country, still not as good as the ones abroad. Not as good as the ones in Spain and Italy and places like that. You know
we talked about Barcelona a couple of weeks ago now on the podcast, and the fact that they hire a lot of former players to be sporting directors. But why do you say
Germany,
that? Why is that being
devalued? And Italy.
That your playing career is devalued?
But I think playing experience is being devalued now, and I think that's probably because of the commercialisation of the way football's going now, and it's more data led. So the boards are looking for people who can explain what's going on or show evidence of things that are proven. And data and analytics is probably the apprenticeship now for a sporting director. Even though sporting director is not about data and analytics or mainly about recruitment, it's a leadership role ultimately. And it's as a sporting director, Sam, and you're the manager.
Yeah,
I'm there to make sure that you've got all the tools to do the job to the best of your ability.
I agree.
And to take away all the distractions so you can focus on the job that you need to do. And if I manage all the other heads of departments, around the football club.
This is what I'd want of a sporting director. Sam, come and have a look at this player with me. Wow, great, let's go. I don't think the coach goes looking at the player now.
No. What you described before about the way your recruitment was data led, and you were one of the pioneers of that at Bolton. You would scour the internet, or the lads would scour, see who was available, see who fits the pay bracket, see who's got a year left on the contract, who potentially wants to come to England. So all of a sudden, your recruitment department's filtered it down to maybe 2 or 3 players. Then you're sending the scouts out to go and have a look at them players. Yeah. They're coming back and saying, yeah, we think it's one of these two.
One of these two, yeah.
Then that's up to you. Which one of these two do you want to work with? Which one do you think you can get the best? Who's going to fit into the squad the best? And I think it goes from there. And then it sort of hands a bit of power back to the head coach. He feels like he's had the selection, and it's taken away all the time-consuming energy.
Absolutely.
I tried to sign a player an ex-Premier League player for the club at Gibraltar. It was only a small club. I must have had 2,000 phone calls, to and fro-in, just to try to get this player to come out. And I just thought, if I was a head coach and trying to manage the team at the same time, it'd just be absolutely impossible, you know. It's like, and you've got to have your phone on all hours of the day, and I wouldn't want that. I'd want my head coach to be fully focused, just thinking about football, thinking about team shape, thinking about tactics. That's all I want him to focus on.
Are you applying for sporting directors' jobs?
Not many come available, but I am applying for any...
Agents are sorry to interrupt there. Sorry to just jump in there, but I need to say this because I thought about it before. I've told on many occasions now, agents are getting sporting directors into role in this country.
If you want to become a sporting director, if you want to become a top sporting director, is to identify the pathway. And the pathway is either through data analysts or recruitment, and go down that rate and work your way up, prove yourself. And once you get there, it's ultimately a leadership role, and it's
you've got to get yourself out there, don't you? Would you work abroad?
I'd work anywhere.
Well, you've got to try and get yourself out there, haven't you? And you've got to get in the coaching, you know.
I think...
coaching association. Remember the coaching association? No?
No.
You're not. You should be.
The opportunities will come up. It's about, you know, being at the right place at the right time. It's not like... there's a huge problem in football at the minute as well. And it's to do with AI. And I think it's to do with... you know, you send your CV into a HR department, now AI is screening it. And if you don't hit that criteria perfectly, and a lot of...
It's like the analysis side of it.
Yeah, and a lot of, you know, when I talk about your playing background being diluted and being diminished...
Data-driven, isn't it?
It's because it's data-driven. If you don't satisfy the criteria for the role, nobody advertises a role and says, you know, we must have a playing background in Premier League. Nobody. So, you know, you then you're not making it onto the shortlist. So you have to be very careful. You've got a transferable skill set, and it's up to probably a forward-thinking HR department or a forward-thinking head of recruitment to say, you know what, that's a transferable skill set. He doesn't need maybe 10 years qualification or 10-year background. That's a transferable skill set, and that's got to be effective for this role. So. But what AI is doing now is screening the CVs, and if you don't hit it perfectly, you don't even get the call back.
Well, David, I don't know if you know, but on this podcast, Sam, as we like to say, we've got a great record of getting people jobs, haven't we?
We have that, lad.
Oh, we're in 30-something now. I think I'm going to say 34 guests that have come on and then gone on to get a job.
Good job, aye.
Yeah.
Right, to finish the podcast, I've got some quick-fiery questions for you. We love these ones, Sam.
The quick-fire that's never quick-fire.
The quick-fire that is never quick-fire. In fact, we stopped doing this section because it was ridiculous.
It was never quick.
Yeah, it was never
quick. Never
yeah.
quick. Never.
So
won't be quick with me.
Yeah, David was highly thought of at Liverpool, but left after being played out of position. What is one bit of advice that you'd give Harvey Elliott, who seems to be in a similar stage of his career after an unsuccessful Aston Villa loan?
I told Harvey Elliott not to leave Liverpool last year. I said, just stick where you are. I think, he's 22 and he'd already won, I think, eight trophies. He could be one of Liverpool's all-time, highest trophy winners if he stays and stuck it out. Yeah, it might be a bit part, but a bit part at Liverpool Football Club.
But 22 is not bad.
At 22 is a good learning experience. And he's playing with world-class talent. And he was shining every time he was coming onto the pitch. He was one of my favourite players. He always had an impact. I was like, just stay put, relax. I could see the way he was getting a bit itchy feet. He probably deserved a little bit more credit. And rightly so. But just stay where you were. Don't make any mistakes. That was the advice I would say. Just stay where you are. I'm a bit disappointed at the situation that he found himself in at Villa. I think if you took that clause, the buyout clause, out of the equation, he'd probably play a bit more. And he deserves it because...
Was it play so many games you had to buy him?
Play 10 games and then he's got to they've got to buy him for 40 million quid.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes.
So he's only played he's played 5 or 6 games.
That's really poor negotiation by Villa.
Well, it is.
And by Liverpool, in fact. Because
Yeah.
I've been told by a few directors you can't play him anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not saying who they are, but you can't play anymore because you've got to pay this amount of millions if you play him.
Yeah.
So should he go back to Liverpool and fight for a place, do you think?
I think, they should rip up the contract, the agreement with Villa and go back and play because, ultimately he only left because
to play football.
He wanted to prove himself and try and get in the World Cup squad. but it's not worked out. So I think he's caught between the devil and the deep blue sea as well, because he can't sign for he can sign for the third club, but he can't play for 3 clubs in the one season. So he needs to go back to Liverpool.
It's a silly rule, isn't it? It's another silly rule.
Yeah.
Okay, you played the majority of your career in the North, and obviously you're a Scouser. How did Harry Redknapp convince you to join Portsmouth?
Harry could convince anybody. Harry.
Yeah.
Anybody to do anything?
Harry can convince anybody to play for him.
I think I was good friends with Jamie from obviously being at Liverpool. And any time I've played against Harry's teams, I'd always done quite well. So I think he quite fancied me as a player. And then, I was available on a free transfer as well. Yeah, I was a bit crocked. It didn't take much convincing because there wasn't that much on the table for me, in all honesty.
What was it like living in Portsmouth compared to Liverpool?
It was different actually, and it's one of the reasons why I joined Bolton in the January transfer window. I was a little bit homesick. I didn't like living down there. I was living down there on my own.
Dangerous.
It was dangerous. I was eating in the Italian restaurants, having a few glasses of wine every night. Before I knew it, when I signed for Bolton in January, I was about 1.5 stone overweight. So Sam got
his scales out.
Sam got his butcher's scales out, and put me on a fitness regime. And yeah, very quickly I came back up to speed. I felt like I did okay in the games, but I was coming towards the end of my career there, which was a shame. I wish I'd met you earlier on in my career.
Yeah.
You played 8 times with Sam at Bolton, finished 7th in the Premier League that season. Now, this is a right left field rumour we heard. I don't know if either of you remember it. You know how we like to pull things off the internet.
Where did you pull this from? I want to know.
Did you almost drown a teammate when you were at Bolton?
I don't remember this.
I don't remember it either. I don't remember
I tell you what, don't believe everything you hear.
He was one of my favourite players as well. Who it was.
Yeah. What, that he drowned?
Well, it was Bibby.
Right.
Supposed to drown Bibby, which is Ricardo Gardner.
Right.
You know what I mean? Who's probably...
Okay.
I don't remember us having a pool. I remember us having like a small ice.
I don't even remember being in the water.
Yeah.
Maybe it was the ice bath.
We had 2.
Did we?
With the hydrotherapy pool.
Oh, yeah, next to each other.
Yeah.
And can he not swim, Ricardo Gardner?
I don't think he was very good at it.
Right. So we need to
Not
get
by the sounds of it.
Yeah, we need to get to the bottom of this in the future, David. We need to find this out.
Get him on and find out.
We need to get him out and
I
get
don't
him.
remember it.
Listen, I never heard about it, or if I did, I've forgotten.
Right.
Because I'd not. If something
know
like
where
that nearly happened, I would have heard about it at some stage or other.
Yeah. Right. We will at some point. We will clarify this.
I'll ring Bibby up and ask him.
Please do, and then let us know in a couple of weeks. Yeah. Any fun sort of stories of working under Sam at Bolton? What was the highlight?
The highlight was, and this is a compliment to Sam actually, his man management skills. I think we were talking about it beforehand when I came in.
Tell that story. Go on.
Well, I was asked to play in the reserves to get up to fitness, but I knew with my knee, I only had about 50 games left, so I didn't want to be wasting them in the reserves. Played one Wednesday night. I think we played Wigan away on a cow field, and I just remember going in the next day and I thought, I can't do that again. I'm going to go in, have it out with the manager and tell him I don't want to play. And I was prepared for an argument because all the manager that I'd played under before, if you went in and said, I don't want to play reserves anymore, you'd end up in fisticuffs. So when I went in there, I was prepared for a fight. I was prepared for a good argument. I said, I don't want to play reserve football anymore. And he went, okay. I was like, what are we going to do here now then? Where do we go now? Where do we go from here? He said, okay. I went, okay, boss, see you later.
And that was that?
That was it.
So it was in terms of man management and having respect and understanding and respect and how to get the best out of players. We were talking about it before as well. When I went to sign for Bolton, you have to do a personality assessment. And it's understanding how to get the best out of you, what triggers you, what's going to set you off. And obviously Sam had read that document, so he said, okay. But I thought that was really forward thinking. And that was, 21 years ago, 22 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's a big compliment to how forward thinking this man was. And he doesn't get the credit he deserves.
I don't believe you, because there's no way Sam Allardyce answered any question with one word.
Did then.
Right. My last question for you today. Obviously, New Year's Eve is on the horizon. Happy New Year to everybody.
Happy New Year to everybody.
People will be celebrating. They'll be out having a lovely time. So, Which of your former teammates would be the last to buy a drink at the bar?
There's been a
last.
few of them in my time. Few of them.
Are you asking me or Sam?
Both of you.
I think David Dunn.
We've had him on. We've had him on.
Is he a tighty?
Yeah. I think he was a tighty, yeah.
Was he?
Matt Jansen, definitely a tighty. He'd suck a pound through a hose pipe, Matt.
Matt Jansen, yeah.
Who's first at the bar? I think Big Sam, he's always at the bar, isn't he?
Oh, yeah, it's our Sam, That's our Sam, first at the bar. Thank you. Thank you for coming on and seeing us.
Pleasure.
All the best next year. Yeah. We have a good new year.
We will keep an eye on your career. We look forward to hearing
Merry
that you've
Christmas.
got a
well, you'll have to now. You produced them stats there, 36%.
Yep.
Did a job.
We're looking forward to having you.
See if we can get it up to 40.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you very much. And as always, thank you very much to Boyle Sports. We really appreciate you. And don't forget, new Boyle Sports customers can get a bet £10, get £40 in free bets offer, plus a 50% bet builder boost on a selected game this week, which is either on the screen right now or on the exclusive link below in the description. Over 18s only, T's and C's apply. Please gamble responsibly. Sam, Happy New Year. Have you got big New Year's plans?
I shall be in Dubai.
Told you there's always a Dubai mention on this podcast. Always. Have a wonderful time. We'll see you in 2026.